If you are listening to this while your body feels heavy, or your mind feels slow, or you are carrying a sense that you cannot quite name, I want to start by saying, this is a safe place to land. You do not need to concentrate. You do not need to stay to the end. You can let this move gently through the room while you sit or rest or breathe. Many people arrive at this point after the chaos has passed. The environment has changed. The obvious danger is gone. From the outside, things appear resolved. And yet internally, something still feels unfinished. Not urgent, not dramatic, just quietly unresolved. This part of recovery can be unsettling because there is no clear explanation for it. You might even tell yourself that you should be grateful, that you survived, that things could have been worse. And yet your body or your emotions are not responding to logic. They are responding to something else entirely. Early on, I want to share something clearly and calmly. What you are seeing is an AI-based version of me. That choice is intentional. Every word you hear is written by me, from my own lived experience. These are my reflections, my pacing, and my perspective. The AI is simply how these words are delivered to you. There was a moment during my recovery that changed how I understood healing. It was not a breakthrough. It was not emotional. It was actually very ordinary. I was standing in the hallway of our home, listening to the quiet. No alarms, no rushing, no decisions needing to be made. My daughters were doing well, one born in 2016, one born in 2021. Life was moving forward again. And instead of relief, I felt disconnected. Not numb exactly, just distant from the idea that things were better. I remember thinking, very plainly, I know I am safe, but my body does not seem to care. At the time, I thought this meant I was stuck. I thought recovery was supposed to feel like relief arriving and staying. I believed that once the threat was removed, the nervous system would naturally reset. What I did not understand yet was that my body had learned survival so deeply that it no longer trusted calm. For a long time, I measured progress by how I felt day to day. Was I more energetic? Was I clearer? Was I motivated? When those things did not return in a steady way, I assumed something was wrong. I did not yet see that my system was not aiming for better. It was aiming for safe. Looking back, I can see that my body was cautious. It did not rush into ease. It tested quiet in small increments. It stayed alert even when there was nothing left to monitor. That was not failure. That was conditioning. Over time, patterns became easier to notice. On days when I expected myself to feel normal, I felt worse. On days when I gave myself permission to exist without evaluating my progress, my body softened slightly. Not enough to celebrate, just enough to notice. Recovery was not about adding anything new. It was about subtracting pressure, subtracting expectation, subtracting the constant question of when will this be over. This is a phase many people misinterpret, the phase where symptoms linger, shift, or feel confusing, where the body is no longer reacting to exposure, but it has not yet learned how to stand down. There is often no language for this space, so people assume they are doing something wrong. For parents, this misunderstanding can feel especially heavy. I carried a quiet sense of responsibility during this time. Not panic, just a background awareness of everything my children had lived through alongside me. I was relieved they were improving, and I was also deeply tired in a way I had not allowed myself to feel before. There is a strength that shows up during crisis that does not ask permission. It just acts. But when crisis ends, that strength often collapses into exhaustion. That does not mean it was fake. It means it was costly. What I wish I had understood sooner is that recovery is not about returning to who you were before. It is about allowing your system to reorganize around safety instead of threat. That takes time, and it rarely looks impressive. If you find yourself wondering why you do not feel better yet, even though everything looks better, I want to say this gently. Feeling safe can be unfamiliar after long periods of danger. Your body may need to learn it slowly. Nothing about this phase means you are behind. Nothing about this means you missed something important. And nothing about this means you are failing at healing. As we come toward the end of this reflection, I want to leave you with something grounding. You do not need to force yourself into gratitude. You do not need to convince your body that things are okay. That understanding comes with time, not effort. Healing is not about chasing relief. It is about allowing your system to realize that the fight is over. If you want to read more reflections like this, written from lived experience and without urgency, I share them at indoorarinsights.com. It is simply a place where I put words to moments that once felt confusing and hard to explain. For now, you are allowed to rest without solving anything. You are allowed to exist in the middle without naming it. And you are allowed to trust that your body is doing something meaningful, even when it does not feel like progress yet.